Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I can't take long on this one. It's not possible, as you see from the time on the video or on the thumbnail. I do what I do because I know what a healthy marriage looks like. It's my parents' marriage. And I wanted to pass this down to my kids, but I did not have the option. One of the things that I do know about a healthy marriage is that you make the kids understand when they're young that the primary relationship in the house is the marriage. And this is done so that the kids understand the importance of the marriage from which they come. They learn to value this. Black men, accountable commentary is right about something. We can no longer continue to procreate with the women of our own race in the West, and we cannot continue to do so with the women of our own race, even in Latin America, if such women have an inferiority complex. If they don't, then you can. We cannot continue to procreate with the women of our own race in certain parts of Africa. And we have yet to map out exactly which parts they are, but when they have been infected with the feminism, we cannot. Even if they are resistant to the alphabet mafia's agenda, we cannot afford to continue procreating with them for one reason. Two reasons. I take that back. Number one, when we have any offspring with them, the chances of you being as lucky as I've been in terms of the mothers is very slim. I was fortunate in one relationship, in one marriage that did not work out, but from which my children came. I was still fortunate that I chose to lay down with women that would be good mothers. But that's not everything. If you have daughters with them, it's going to take a different culture for your daughters to be capable of growing up with a different outlook, a better outlook. Assalamu alaikum, sir. And they're not going to get that better or different outlook if their mother is a sister. What sister in the West is going to raise a daughter to be a pick-me? And a pick-me is the right kind of woman to be. We know this, and we can also see that that's exactly what they're not going to do. They're not going to raise their daughters to be pick-me's. They refuse. And so because of that, we're going to have to factor in and keep in mind that we don't have a fail-safe mechanism. We don't even have a safe mechanism. If you have any children with a Keisha, there's something that they're going to need to know that they will not be allowed to know. No matter what you do as a dad, there's going to be something that mom's supposed to do or teach or explain, and she will not do it. If it is a son, she will hide things that he needs to know about women from the son. And if it is a daughter, she is going to teach that daughter how unimportant marriage is and how unimportant men are. She's going to start the daughter off with that. Our babies are paychecks. And there's not much we can do to put a stop to it once they make their minds up and they're determined that that's what they want to do, because all they got to do is get enough money to go get their hair did and sit in the salon, and there's a council of sisters in there ready to tell them how to work the system to do that without having to spend their own money to get that done. Meanwhile, you got to spend tons of money as a dad to get your rights enforced, to get them even ruled upon, and let alone to get them enforced. You were there to be a paycheck and nothing else. And it's going to be upheld unless there's something egregious about the mom, or unless you just have a lot of money to fight that with and then still actually take care of your kids when you get custody. Because even if mom gets hit with child support, when she doesn't pay, they're not coming for her like they will for you. Your license will be suspended if you don't pay. You will be picked up if you don't pay. She won't. It's not much better if you get with a Becky either, but we already know that. We are going to have to start reproductively boycotting the Westernicians. I don't have to tell you much about why you should reproductively boycott the Western Wyatt woman. I mean, all you have to think about is her family with your kids. That's all you got to think about, and you'll understand. You'll know already. But we have to also do this with the women that mirror us phenotypically. And that is because it is the same thing. The marriage that Walaikum salam, the marriage that my parents have is what I wanted you guys to be able to see. I'm very fortunate because I finally found that same thing with my current wife. I won't get to pass it on that way. I have it, but I won't get to pass it on. And I can't make public too many details of our marriage and have it be successful, even for your benefit. If you were one of those that got a chance to see what a healthy marriage looks like, you still must understand that you are one of those that won't get to pass that on. You see, we're sitting up and watching a lot of these women confess to things and brag about negative things they've done to men. Let me tell you guys, these are not fatherless women all the time. A lot of times these are ladies who had fathers and they still got all that attitude and the neck rolling and the finger snapping, like that big lady that was talking about how convicts were winning and felons were winning. She said that her dad tried to talk sense into her. She just wouldn't listen. Why? She didn't have to. The system did not demand that. Those chicks at Spelman who in a survey showed that they would prefer a thug over their own counterpart across the street at Morehouse had dads. Trust me, their single moms could not afford the tuition. They had dads. Have dads. They don't want men like their dads. Alan Roger Curry set up and told us about a friend of his whose daughter was with a no good ninja, and she finally just went ahead and told the dad, look, he hits it right. And some would say, so he gets to be a bum because he's hitting it right. No, man, it's not just that. It's the fact that if he stops being a bum, she wouldn't be able to tell that he's hitting it right anymore, because in the minds of a sister, a guy that's not a bum can't hit it right. Just the knowledge that he's responsible would numb her private parts to the effects of what he's doing the right way. That's how ingrained this thing is. And if you're going to continue to procreate with them, you're only going to be breeding. You need to realize that as much as Cynthia G talks about the need to not have any more black male babies with us because of what we're turning out and churning out, you know, they're this notion that they have that they're carrying to term and delivering their own future enemies. The real truth is you are sitting up here and you were skeeting and squirting your future enemies into her womb if you continue to lay down with them. And they're not going to separate laying down and having kids because, well, that will be too convenient for you. They're not going to do it. So you're going to have to boycott in the way that many of you are already doing with male chastity. Just don't even lay down with them. Leave them be. And if you can get out the West, you do it. But you can no longer continue to procreate with Westernicians. You already knew you can't do it with the whites, but you can't afford to do it with even the Western sisters. They're going to make sure that your daughters grow up to run your sons-in-law away. Unless your sons-in-law are no good bum ass nigga stereotypes. And that's because those are the guys that'll just get up and leave on their own. And they are going to be socialized to not even want guys other than them. They will be socialized to not want a man that out of a sense of responsibility would stay put and honor a commitment. In a nutshell, if you really are a good and loving dad, she's socialized to look at a guy like you as a type of loser, even if she loves you. Unworthy to have even conceived her, even if she loves you. And one of the most important things I've ever said that has not been repeated to me until recently, earlier today, in a written form, one of my original first subscribers and one of the first ones to share my channel with anybody else wrote to me and said that he was quoting me to someone else and said, they're not leaving these men even though they're good. They're leaving them because they're good. And you have to understand why it is that you must reproductively boycott, which does mean to sexually boycott these quiches, as accountable commentary will call them. It is because all the choices they make are not even though, but because. It's as Morpheus would say of the base Pluto, it is premeditated every time. It is why Vivica Fox is waiting until she's now in her 60s, looking like she does now, 2 years and some weeks after refusing to mourn the death of Kevin Samuels, calling his death some sort of karma that he provoked. She's sitting up and talking about, okay, now I want to be a husband and I want him to take me shopping. No, you old big broad, you need to pay. You take that man shopping. And how do I know? See, I'm one of those guys that sees value in older women and younger women. I can understand, but I see value in older women. Trust you me, when they were younger, they withheld the things that would have made them valuable. And then when they get older and they realize that age is not what's stopping me, they'll withhold the value of the age as well. Whatever it is that you value, they turn around and withhold it from you and start offering you what they think you should want. It is never what you actually, naturally, intrinsically want from them. If I did not like and appreciate women closer to my own age, if I did not like them, they would be chasing me down. That's the truth of the matter. That's real. Because they have in their mind that whatever you like, you should never get. And you cannot make it with an enemy like that. You can't make anything work, so why procreate with them? And if you don't want to procreate with them and they lay down with you, they're going to insist on procreating and carrying the baby to term. They're only going to abort if you just really were looking forward to being a parent and they just let you shoot the club up being irresponsible at some point and they realize that you didn't think you ever gonna make it to parenthood. Then they're like, ugh, this guy is disgusting. I let him get me pregnant. I'm finna abort. That's the only way. You got to not want them to abort in order for them to abort. You want them to abort, they're carrying the baby to term, whatever. See, again, it's always whatever you don't want. You can't make anything work with someone that's like that. So just go ahead and sexually boycott them right off the bat. Because it's not just even though you don't provoke these things in them, it's because you don't provoke these things in them that they give them to you. Oh, yeah. For some of you, the closest to a devil or demon you ever going to see in your lives is going to be the collective of sisters. And they're not doing it even though this will ruin your life because there's something in it for them. They do it so that it will ruin your life, even if there's really nothing in it for them. That is hatred. And that is what I keep trying to point out. Vivica did not make a decision recently because she ran out of time. It's not just a self-interest thing in it for her. It is also because it is a bad deal for you. That's why. And she knows that. And she's not the only one. She's just a public example of it. I hope that what I've said is a benefit. Thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you for flying with us again here on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.